I will do anything to get you the best scenery in Melbourne. This is the entrance to the old Melbourne Jail. This was being built in 1841, and when Tunnerminnerwait and Moorbohina were hung on the 20th of January 1842, just down about 50 metres from here, or less than 50 metres from here, people were sitting on the walls to get a better view of the hanging, just to give you a little sense of history and drama. Now, I'd like to talk about killing geese that lay golden eggs. Any vegans? Relax. There are no animals harmed in this shoot. It's a term. You know, when you've got a good investment, or a good cow, or a good geese, or a good crop of beans, it's a golden egg. And when you get them year after year after year, it's a great return on your investment and your effort, basically your effort. Now, in Australia today, we have an issue. Every time you ask the government for an increase in the New Start allowance, better health, public education, public infrastructure, we're told constantly that there's no money. So why is there no money? 25 million people living on a resource-rich continent. This isn't Bangladesh with 130, 140 million people living on a floodplain. This isn't, some sub-Saharan African country which hasn't got any greenery or good agricultural land. This is 25 million people on a continent, resource-rich continent. Greatest uranium deposits in the world, some of the greatest coal deposits, some of the greatest gold deposits, some of the greatest iron ore deposits, and the list goes on and on and on. Diamonds, silver, manganese, phosphate. And you think, why do you see homeless people? Why do people continually complain about access to public services? Well, the dilemma is simple. It's very simple. The budgetary process is a little bit like having your own home. You know, you may have a family unit, you may have a group of people that have come together living cooperatively in a house, and in a capitalist society there's income. What comes in and what goes out, basically. Now in Australia today, we only have three sources of income, three primary sources of income. The major source, or the significant source, about 65 to 67%, is income tax, personal income tax, and we've just seen a significant tax cut for Australians, which means there'll be less of a pool of income tax. Then we have corporate Australia, company tax, and about 20 to 25% of the tax income comes from company tax. Then you've got excises, excise on tobacco, excise on alcohol, import duty, and the list goes on and on. Now, 30 to 40 years ago, we had a very important stream. We had geese that laid golden eggs year after year after year. With the privatisation mania, which has gripped not just this country but the whole world, what we've seen is publicly owned resources. That means resources which have been built up over decades, and in some cases almost a century, through taxpayer investment, were sold off at bargain basement prices to the private sector. For example, when the Commonwealth Bank was privatised, shares were sold for around $2.50. They're worth anywhere between $70 per $100 per share, depending on the state of the stock market at any particular point in time. So the great thing about many of these essential services which were provided was the fact that they provided income to the Treasury. Income independent of the payroll tax, income independent of excise, income independent of company tax. It was a constant yearly stream of income which came through using taxpayers' money to provide essential services to the community. For example, the Commonwealth Bank was established by the government, the Labor government, in 1911
because it was impossible for people, working people, to obtain loans from the privately owned banks. They were mainly there to look after investors, and they used to collapse on a regular basis. So the Commonwealth Bank was established to provide loans to working people, allow them to purchase a home, and over decades, until it was privatised in the 1980s, it not only provided a service for Australians, not only became a bank which people could trust, not only provided a government guarantee for the money you had in the bank. It was a government guarantee. Today there's a $250,000 guarantee, not a 100% guarantee which the Commonwealth Bank provided. Not only did it ensure there was real competition in the banking sector, because the publicly owned bank could compete quite easily with the privately owned bank, every year a dividend came back to the Australian people. That was the golden egg. Every year, any profit that was made didn't go overseas to France, as we see now with the Eurotrans, didn't go back to England, as we see with the rail network. Any profit that was made went back into the Treasury, which was then used for public transport, public infrastructure, public health, dental schemes, education, and the list goes on and on. So the privatisation of the Commonwealth Bank meant there was no more dividend coming in on a yearly basis. So that means the Treasury was denied access to money. Now let's look at the privatisation of Telecom, which is now called Telstra. The same story with privatisation of Telecom. When we had Telecom's own public ownership, what happened? The cost was distributed equally around the country. So regional areas and rural areas, the cost to receive telecommunications was similar to the CBDs of the major capital cities. Also, what Telecom did is it made a profit. And every year, that profit was either reinvested back in Telecom to improve services, or it went into the Treasury to pay for services which are provided by the federal government. The same story goes with the nation's airports. The nation's airports were privatised by the Howard government, and that meant that the dividend which came from the airports, which were publicly owned, no longer came back into the federal treasury, and the list goes on and on. The last major public asset which was privatised was the Medibank Private, which was a private insurance scheme which was owned by the federal government, which insured people who wanted to take out private insurance. Now, even Medibank Private, in difficult times, was making around $100 million profit every year, which went back into the treasury. So what the privatisation mania has done is actually kill all the geeses that would lay the golden eggs. So there is a huge dip in income to be distributed into public services. It's quite an extraordinary situation we find ourselves in. Next thing we should look at is mineral resources. Now, mineral resources are the most important source of revenue in this country. Not for the Australian people, but for a handful of private corporations, some which are owned by one or two individuals. So we've got all these mineral resources in this country, as I explained before: uranium, bauxite, coal, iron ore, gold, diamonds, manganese, phosphate, and the list goes on and on. Now, what the government does, it provides these mineral resources. What it does, it provides these mineral resources to these corporations for a peppercorn rent. That's right, a peppercorn rent. And some state governments actually levy royalties on these mineral resources. So what we are seeing is that the majority of the profit which is made through the exploitation of these mineral resources is going to private corporations. Some are Australian owned, some are owned by overseas corporations, and we're seeing the bulk of the money which is made not going back into the community to provide essential services. People say, well, where's the money coming from to buy these resources? Well, in the first place, we shouldn't have leased them to these corporations. The government, on behalf of the Australian people, could have developed these resources like the Norwegian government does with the Norwegian Future Fund, which has over $1 trillion in it, and all the exploitation of its oil, any profits that are made goes to the Future Fund to look after the needs of the Norwegian people. In this country, we have the ludicrous situation where these geese that lay golden eggs have been sold to the private sector for a minimal return. We've now got the ridiculous situation in this country where 75% of the oil we extract is exported, and we have a shortage of oil, where we don't actually have enough gas, especially on the east coast, because it's all been sold and none was reserved for the Australian people. So privatisation has extraordinarily significant impacts, and I'm not even commenting on privatisation of the electricity network in many of the states in this country. I'm talking about federal privatisation. It has extraordinary impact on the community. There's a privatisation of land, and that privatisation continues to exist, continues to occur. Now we're moving to the privatisation of services, where services which are provided by the federal government are actually being handed over to the private sector for a huge cost. And the return that we receive as a community is minimal, and the cost is maximum. Public-private partnerships fall into that realm. So we have seemed to have slaughtered all the geese that lay the golden eggs. We've even privatised water. We've seen the disaster that's occurred in the Murray-Darling Basin as a result of the privatisation of the water market, where people own billions of dollars of water but actually don't own any farms. They just trade in water. So it's an extraordinary situation we find ourselves in. So the moral of the story is very simple. Don't sell the geese, especially the geese that you fatten with taxpayers' funds, to an outside source for a peppercorn price. Keep fattening that geese, keep getting those golden eggs, and it's about time that Australians turned the clock back and started discussing the nationalisation of mineral resources in this country, taking it back over without compensation to these corporations. They've made enough money to pay for their investment, and also that we should be looking at setting up new government-owned enterprises, but this time, instead of allowing the government of the day to sell these resources whenever they like, the ownership of any publicly owned assets should be incorporated in the Australian Constitution. And I'm quite comfortable and confident that if this question is put to the Australian people in a referendum, that publicly owned assets, their ownership should be incorporated in the Australian Constitution, it will pass with a majority of 90%. Because people know government assets are there to provide services and funds for the population as a whole. Private assets are there to provide a return for private investors. Next week, who knows where we'll be, who knows what we'll talk about, but I'm sure in today's society there's so many things going on that we will